Welcome to the Property Elite podcast. I'll be your host, Jen Lehman, chartered surveyor and co-founder of Property Elite. Stay tuned each week for more on industry hot topics, market updates and new RICS guidance.
Hi, I'm Rachel from Property Elite and I'm here today to talk with Tatenda. So Tatenda's a consultant with Property Elite and also is director of her own business. And she is joining us today to have a chat about the APC summary of experience and really run through our top tips for how we can present or help our clients to present the best possible summary of experience. So first of all, Tatenda, summary of experience, I mean, what does that really mean? I hear all sorts of different descriptions of that document. So perhaps you can just cast some light on that for me.
Yeah, so some people call it critical analysis. And I'm so sorry, where are my manners? Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here. But sorry, my brain was straight into it. But summary of experience is basically some people call it a critical analysis, some people call it all these other different names, but it is basically a document where you've kept all what your experience, examples of your experiences. So the different activities that you got stuck into in your training. A lot of the time it's 2 years for some people, or if you're doing your preliminary review, then it is so some of the experience that you've had. And these are documented at level 1, level 2, level 3. I'm sure we can touch into it, what those different levels entail. But yes, that's what I would definitely say are summaries of experience. Do you have anything to add about that, Rachel?
No, that's a good place to start. So moving on to top tip number 1, I think we wanted to talk about timing. So most people are coming at this from doing the 24 months of structured training. So I think, we've got different approaches, etc. But I think if we concentrate on that for our tips on timings for the moment.
Yes.
So over 24 months, so what sort of timescale should the candidates be looking at to get on with their summary of experience?
So I would definitely say when you're not at the start, but after you've got a bit of a grip of what you are doing in your job role, then you obviously with your supervisor and your counselor, you can figure out what are those competencies that you actually want to specialize in. And so I would definitely say once you've got a grip on the role, and for some people that might be 3 months to 6 months in your new environment, and obviously learning a lot of things that you may not have covered at university if that's the route that you've just taken. And so I definitely would say around that 3 to 6 month
time to get on with it. And there's a lot of other stuff, isn't there, which you've got to absorb apart from just getting on with the job, getting used to the new job if you've just come out of uni. There's a lot of CPD, for instance. I think there's 48 hours of CPD that you've got to do within year 1. So that's a good opportunity, isn't it, to use that time in year 1 to underpin your knowledge at level 1 for a lot of the competencies that you've chosen, and also for the mandatory competencies which you might not have actually studied at uni.
Yeah, no, you've just hit the nail on the head. Some of those things we haven't covered at uni, and so that's a really important time. And CPD also is really helpful, obviously, in your job, learning different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So tip 2 then, style. So a lot of people really struggle with how to actually approach writing the summary of experience and how they should pitch it. So any tips on that?
I am going to throw that one back at you for a second, just because my brain is...
Okay, cool. Well, what I'm thinking of there is, first of all, it's a really formal document, isn't it?
Yeah.
And actually needs to be written in formal language, formal business language. It needs to present the candidate as a competent professional. But I think the point that I come across quite often there to Tatenda is that people are tempted to therefore write the summary of experience in the third person, which means that they use we instead of I. And we at Property Elite like to get everybody to say I when it comes to writing their summary of experience. And that's because they need to present it as their own work, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is extremely important. Thank you for saving my brain there. But yes, that is absolutely important that you write in first person, because the person here that is being interviewed or that is they're having their competency reviewed is you. And so I need to write it in first person. Is very, very, very important.
Sure, cool. Thanks. And then on to the next point is drafts. So tell me why it's important to work in a draft document before you present your final version of your summary experience to your counsellor or other people that are checking it for you.
I mean, in this day and age, we've all had a document that we've lost, and that would be absolutely catastrophic. Like, it would be terrible if that happened. I know that when I was writing my submission, that would have been probably the worst thing to happen. And so it's really important to have it in a Word document. Just document everything and email it to yourself, save it to the cloud, because it's just really, really such a precious document that you don't really have that much time or wiggle room to redo it again. So it's really important to avoid any glitches.
Yeah. Okay. And then for tip 4, we talked about examples when we were chatting this through.
Yeah.
You know, we've got level 1, level 2, level 3 that the candidates have to cover for their competencies if they're doing things to level 3. And at level 2 and level 3, they should really not be using any text in there apart from examples, should they? So what sort of examples are we thinking about when we're talking about examples?
So I would say that it should be clear examples. So a project that you've done.
Yeah.
And explaining how you went about it. Level 2 should show your not only your knowledge on it, but also like clear examples of what exactly
And what your involvement was. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And same for level 3. What advice? How did you critically analyze it, and what advice did you give to your client? So I think those are really important.
Okay, great. And then review, tip 5. So it's got to be a really good document, hasn't it? It's got to really reflect how brilliant the candidate is and what they've done and how they've done it. So it's really important, in my opinion, to review and review and review. So how would you suggest a candidate approaches that?
As you just mentioned, like continuing to review the document and also get it proofread. You've got people around you, you've got your counsellor, you've got your supervisor, and just make sure that it absolutely has no mistakes, and also make sure that it is all your own work and that it becomes part of your second brain, basically, just knowing all the examples and everything you've written like the back of your hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so finally, we need to talk about deadlines. So, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about timings as well is because when I speak with candidates, it's where they get upset or distressed about the whole process is really not really understanding where they've got to do things and when they've got to do them. So deadlines are absolute, aren't they, for submission of the summary of experience?
Absolutely. They are the final deadlines. There's no extensions, etc. So it's really imperative that you have everything together in the right time, in the allocated time. So it's imperative, if you want to succeed, that you have your timings correct and you also have your deadlines correct.
Yeah, and also that your counsellor understands what that looks like, because the counsellor is not at the coalface of when you're going to be submitting. It's for you as a candidate really to make sure they're aware of what the timings look like and actually make sure that they've got enough time to help you to submit on time, because leaving it to the last minute isn't helpful for anybody. No. Okay. So I think that brings us round to the end of our top tips, and there's a lot to talk about. It's a really, really big subject, but thanks very much, Tatenda, for giving us some guidance today, and hopefully you'll be able to join us again for another video soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
That's a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Property Elite podcast this week. Head to our website to check out our full blog, free and paid support resources and services, free consultation for every single RICS APC and ASOC RICS candidate, and also ask us any questions you have via the website chat blog. See you next week.